This past week, the Knicks beat Brooklyn before they fall to Toronto and the Celtics. And of course, Tony Brothers. Let's talk about it.
Anthony for three.
We see Willis coming out. Won the NBA championship.
Have the first pick in the 1985 NBA college draft.
Season ends the hands of the Chicago Bulls.
Reggie Miller is tied the game. The Spurs against Warriors are your world champions.
New York Knicks select Kristaps Porzingis.
My fellow Knicks fans, I stand here today humbled to have the opportunity to voice the concerns of Knicks Nation. We all ride together in the frustration of a poor start. It is not me or you when we lament over Phil Jackson's obsession with triangular-shaped things. Nor is it me or you when we all forcefully witness the Band-Aid that is Kurt Rambis covering up the Knicks' last-place defense. These are the concerns we face as Knicks Nation, and in times like this, we must remember the progress that we as a nation have witnessed, forcing the hand of Knicks owner through protests to bring a change in culture leading to the hire of the Zen Master, drafting a unicorn, and doubling our win total since the crisis of 2013. Instead of turning our backs, we must be patient and trust the process. Now, unlike our shitty counterparts out in Brooklyn, we have the talent, we have the drive, and most importantly, we have each and every one of you Knick fans. Now let's take this time to truly come together and get behind this team as they truly are the NBA super team. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless the United States of the Knicks Nation. Thank you. And welcome to the Roundtable. I'm Far. That's Jay. That's John Legend. I get them mixed up all the time, you'll have to excuse me. TK in the house. It's been a hard and long week for all of us, to say the least.
It has.
The Knicks went 1-2 this past week since we last spoke.
That's what made it a long week?
That is, yeah, no, that's about the only thing I can think of.
Wrong.
That made it a long week here at the MadGood Knicks show. Quickly to recap this past week's games, the Knicks beat the Nets 110-96. They lose to the Celtics 115-87 and lose to the Raptors the very next day 118-107. Lots of things to talk about here, guys. I think the topic of discussion that's been plaguing the Knicks, and specifically Carmelo Anthony this past week, has been, should Tony Brothers mind his damn business?
Come on.
You a ref. Come on. Meet Melo outside after 3 o'clock if you really want to show up. T, let's kick it off with you.
No. He should not ref another Knicks game. I don't know what his deal is, whether it's personal with Carmelo Anthony. I mean, Lala seems to think so. Yeah. But every time I see him in there, little Tony Brothers, I see some bad reffing going on. I don't know what's going on.
You got Melo out for bad language. So the only thing I have to say is fuck Tony Brothers.
The profanity's out there. You're gonna have to tee him up. You're out of here, Jay. You are a referee in the NBA, and I really think there's an integrity issue here at hand that the NBA needs to address with Tony Brothers having any kind of, and at this point, I'm really curious to say what the NBA is going to say about this, because if anything at all,
put some respect on it. All right,
indeed, put some respect.
Let's be frank here. Nobody pays money, their hard-earned money, to see Tony Brothers ref. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Dude, fall the fuck back.
Taking out a superstar in a critical division game like that is absolutely absurd.
Unacceptable, yep.
New York market
Absolutely
too.
absurd.
Trust me, everyone saw this game.
In the past, Tony Brothers, of course, did ref that game between when there was a fight between Melo, verbal fight, and Kevin Garnett as well. The whole
Honey Nut
Cheerios,
Cheerios, baby.
issue segment. Guys, third question, and T, you did touch on this briefly, but who do the Knicks need to feature on offense? Because quite frankly, I feel like this is a team without a true identity, because you've got the option of letting Rose lead the offense and attacking the basket, which he's great at.
Yeah.
You've got Carmelo Anthony, no explanation necessary, and then you've got Kristaps Porzingis, a budding superstar. Does he need the ball more to evolve? Does he not? T?
Right. Let me just do a quick solid here. Let me ask my man Pat Ewing here. What do you think, big man? What do you? He said Kristaps Porzingis. We should run the offense through the big man. And it makes complete sense.
It does.
Derrick Rose can get his buckets whenever. Carmelo can get his buckets whenever. KP seems to be the only one who hasn't taken that next step yet and has kind of initiated or ignited his own offense. So I think early in the game, we need to get him going, and that'll keep him consistent throughout.
Jay?
I've seen some effort from KP though to try to take some plays himself
Sure,
and
yeah.
literally start the offense himself.
yeah.
And he was working with Kevin Durant's, I believe, personal trainer.
So I completely agree. Just to stick on the question, I completely agree that Kristaps Porzingis should be the feature man in this offense. I don't think it's too early. I think now is the time to do it, because you're surrounded by the talent to pick him up in case he's having an off game, which he will have probably 40% of his entire season. He will probably have off games, because that's what's going to happen.
One thing I also noticed from KP, when they ran the offense through him, late in that game against the Raptors, which we were really close in, they started to double team him. That's interesting. KP hasn't gotten a lot of double teams lately, and when they did double team him, he was able to find those open cutters and open shooters.
The only issue with that, and why it's probably going to be really easy for teams to double team KP, is because Noah can't shoot at all whatsoever. It is
That
really
is true.
bad.
It's been
now,
proven.
Now it's officially this form is just not going to work for the NBA if you can't hit shots. And you have to stay 70% from the free throw line. Otherwise, they're going to keep fouling
you won't
you.
be
You
on
have
the
to
court.
do that.
Yeah.
Guys, last question for the round table.
Let's hear it.
Make a wish. All right, I want you guys to set your own depth charts for this team, because rotation has been a
We're
huge
still
issue.
talking Knicks here? I thought
Easy.
the wish could have been for anything.
I was wishing for a championship. I mean, you're talking about depth chart. I was hoping for a ring.
Let's make a wish here. All right, we got to start small before we get big. What does this Knicks depth chart really need to look like? Who needs to get more playing time?
That's easy.
Who needs to go less?
That's easy.
You seem anxious.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to go with a 10-man rotation. Sixth man, of course, we know being Jennings. I'm going to give him about 25 minutes an evening. Then I'm going to go Billy here. Billy has been very, very impressive in the last 3 games. Let me just share this really quick. Billy had against the Nets 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 blocks in only 15 minutes. That's hella productive.
That's potent.
Against the Celtics, he had 8 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 steals in 23 minutes. Again, very productive. Against the Raptors, he only played 5 minutes, didn't partake very much, had 0 points, 1 rebound, but that's beside the point. I'm going to give him 15 to 18 minutes. My 8th man is going to be Kuzminskis, 15 to 18 minutes. Again, he's been pretty decent, as we've seen. He
That
needs to get
plus
more into
minus,
offense.
though, Kuzminskis,
Yeah.
it keeps going up. Keeps
Going up. Holiday is going to be my 9th guy. Give him 5 to 10 minutes, only because he provides a nice little spark on defense whenever he's in the game. And I'm going to round it off number 10 here. I'm going to give it to Sasha Vujicic. I know there's a shock coming from me. Yeah, it's a shock, but here's the deal. Every time I see Vujicic in the game, I know for a fact he's going to give you hard
There wasn't
energy.
a Kyle O'Quinn in there, was there?
There was no
There's
Kyle O'Quinn,
and there's
no
no
Lance
No
Thomas.
Lance Thomas. Okay, interesting.
not for
Let's
me.
get to that in a second. Jay?
That's going to be one of the differences that we have. I have Kyle Quinn in there, and if anything, I have him at the power forward. I want Billy at the 5 with that second unit.
Shoot, let's hear it.
Kuz,
So you also have a 10-man rotation here.
yeah, just 10-man rotation.
Who's your 6th? Are you going by? Or?
Jennings, O'Quinn, Holiday, Kuz, and Billy. That's going to
Okay.
be my second unit right
Let
there.
me throw mine out there.
I'm sorry, can you say that again? What was that?
Jennings, O'Quinn, Holiday, Kuz, Billy.
Okay.
And I'm gonna just put my depth chart out there. I think it should be a shorter rotation. I think it needs to be probably an 8 to 9 man rotation.
Nice. Oh, yeah.
That's
max.
increased minutes, though. on
That
the
is
starters.
definitely increased minutes. But guess what? Rose, as far as I'm concerned right now, is kind of a rental. Jennings, as far as I'm concerned right now, is kind of a rental.
So you'd run him down?
I would run them down. And Carmelo Anthony,
has 2 more years left on this contract. What are you saving him for?
Point.
I've got Jennings. That's an obvious one. Holiday, I've got him in there for defense. Offensively, yeah, he's been doing some things. I think he can do a little bit more, but I don't want those bad shots for Holiday. He needs to be a high percentage shooter. Kuzminskis and Billy Hernangomez are gonna round this out. I don't want to leave Kyle O'Quinn out of there, so it really has to be the hot hand. You saw what happened with the Raptors game. You saw how Billy was not really feeling it. He was a bad matchup problem for Valanciunas, and Kyle O'Quinn got in there and kind of settled things down. But Kyle O'Quinn is not the fucking answer all the time off the bench for the 4 or 5. It's not the answer.
I like him more this season than last season, though.
I do. He's
improved.
Yeah, he does.
He's improved because he's getting more shine. He's getting more opportunity. That doesn't mean it's validated.
It isn't, but he has great moments, and then some moments, again, you're looking at him like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's something we said our first episode.
And second and third, and now.
That's 4 straight episodes. That's going to do it for the roundtable. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We will take it now to the wild card.
Later, guys.
All right, some of us said 20 games in, some of us said 30 games in, we'd be pressing the panic button. We're pressing it right now. It's time to hit the panic button. Now, we're not going to get into stats about like why they're bad offensively, why they're bad defensively.
We all know that.
Yeah. So let's get in. I'm Pete.
I'm Steph.
And this is the wild card. So let's get into it. Inside out, there's some overarching issues. Carmelo Anthony is at the top of the list. Now, you and I have always claimed that Carmelo Anthony isn't that sort of like killer instinct leader type of player.
I agree. I mean, it's tough when the team around him keeps getting refreshed every year. It's hard to develop that brotherhood that you expect a superstar to have after this many years.
Yeah, right now it's not clear when he's supposed to be selfish. Melo's not a traditional ISO player. What that means is he doesn't really make the players around him better like a LeBron where he can pass. And you have to build a team around him that encompasses that. And that brings us to sort of the rest of the team.
Right, exactly. When you think about the players versus Phil Jackson, I mean, Derrick Rose coming into this season, he was all excited about the pick and rolls, the ball movement. I mean, he was expecting this whole other game. And then Phil Jackson comes in the first day and says, take all that out.
Phil Jackson went on record recently. What was the word he used? What was it like?
Displeasure?
He was displeasured with how little they're running the triangle offense. Now, all of us casual fans and some of us experts think that method just doesn't work for the Knicks. It's not working, and that sort of brings us to the coaching issues. Now, since Phil Jackson's joined the team, we've had Derek Fisher with no coaching experience. Then we moved on to Rambis with limited experience. Now we've got Horny, and now on top of that, he's selecting Rambis to be a defensive coach.
So it's kind of like they're patching up what they already just started doing. It makes no sense.
It's a patchwork, and I think Horny's being undermined from the top and the bottom, and it's a chaotic situation. It's time to hit the panic button.
I agree, and I heard in an interview with Courtney Lee, he said that they're playing defense
exclusively,
yeah,
against the triangle.
Against the triangle, yeah, and during practice, and that makes no sense.
It's time to hit the panic button.
I mean, when no other team in the NBA is traditionally playing the triangle offense, why would you even practice against that?
That really explains some of their defensive woes. And right now, it feels like the Knicks are kind of living inside of a bubble, and top of that bubble is James Dolan. Now, we're not going to get into, the grievances against James Dolan are well documented. All we're going to say is just it feels like he's building a team that's more about being marketable than sort of having the real, the needed basketball vision to pull it through.
Well, that's New York City's problem in general, and that just speaks on the team. I mean, you have a hierarchy you have Dolan, you have Phil Jackson, Hornacek, and Carmelo. They all have interests that are butting heads, and you can't tell who's higher in the hierarchy. It's just all mixed up. When you look at NBA teams like the San Antonio Spurs, the Cavaliers, they have one cohesive idea in unison, and that's win the championship. Don't say it, act on it. We gotta hit the panic button.
I like that, like this. Sort of brings us to
our first commandment on the wild card, which is,
thou shalt not have competing visions. All right. So we're gonna be giving you the rest of the commandments in future wild card episodes, but basically what that means right now is there's no singular cohesive vision to the Knicks, and it's showing, and we're hurting because of it. And I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I think that just wraps up.
That's it.
We'll catch you next episode where I'm pretty sure we'll have more sad stories. Until then,
don't be sad.
It's time to hit the panic button.